Okay, so I posted in the Ceice Thesis Discord. I asked for you guys to ask me a bunch of questions related to Chapter 5 Season 2, and we're going to answer them all in this video. I've gone ahead and picked the best questions possible to answer, and so there's going to be timestamps in this video. You guys can skip to the part that you guys want to hear, but I think that all of these questions are going to be great to know, so let's get into it. Question we have is from Psycho101RL. He says, what guns should I use, and what should my loadout be for this meta? Simply put, the hammer pump shotgun is still the shotgun to carry. I know that the gatekeeper can be very, very good at higher rarities, but at the end of the day, we've been practicing and playing so long with the hammer shotgun that it just makes fighting so much more simpler when you know the reload speed, you know the gun shoot speed, and overall the damage with the hammer at a max pump is way higher than the gatekeeper will be. I think the gatekeeper in laggy lobbies could still be really good, and by no means am I saying that the Mythic Gatekeeper is not worth running. That gun is very busted. Higher color rarities like the Mythic or the Gold is definitely worth running if you can get it. Overall, that's the shotgun of choice. And then ARs, we've got the new AR, I forget the name exactly, and then the Burst SMG. Those two are going to be the guns that you're going to want to carry back and forth. The other SMG, I forget the exact name of it, but the new SMG is not worth carrying. It's too low of damage. It's too low of reload, and even with attachments on it, it's not better than the Burst is. So new AR, Burst SMG are the two ARs to use, the two like first weapons, and then of course any type of heal, guzzles or the Fizz, the berries, minis, bigs, medkits, all those basic things are what you should have in your other slots, as well as like a sniper. Obviously that is still meta with the one-shot headshot, or any type of easy surge damage guns like that are really important to carry in a loadout. The next question we have is from Boom SMG. He asks, are wings worth carrying even with a bigger hitbox and easy to get beamed compared to just using Fizz or using the berries to rotate? So wings, they're a great mobility item, but hands down, Fizz and berries are going to be way, way better just off of the fact that it's a double use item. So you and your teammate can both use it. I've talked about this before, but it's important to do things together. So that's very common, but fighting together, rotating together, things like that are better to do together than a wings that maybe gives you guys both a separate rotate route than a Fizz would. So yes, wings are great, but Fizz is definitely better to carry in competitive. The next question we have is from KDN. He asks, what is the best way to rotate in the new season without movement? So the best way to rotate in the new season, if you don't have any of the movement items, is obviously the guzzle. I think that's technically called a movement item. I would consider that the guzzle or the Fizz and then the berries. Those things are top of the tier, best things you can possibly do. The skulls, using those because those aren't technically an item, but having those and being able to touch the water and save the skulls for later is super, super busted. But if you don't have any of these things and you can get yourself to the rotating island and being below it or getting on top of it using the pad, or being below it and using the rift, both of those things and playing around the island will save your game and will stretch your game out way further. But at the end of the day, if you're running into situations where you constantly don't have mobility and you can't find Fizz or you can't find the berries or wings or some type of movement, I would straight up suggest landing somewhere different or trying to get more loot every game or fighting for more loot because it's not worth playing every single game out with no mobility. You have to have something, especially in a meta where it's pretty common to find mobility. So great question from KDN, but on to the next. The next question is from Cinetrix. He asked, would dropping in uncontested spots be better than landing at the new Medallion spots? So simply put, land wherever you want. Does not necessarily matter. It's more about the time it takes to master the spot. And I think that kind of answers your question. And you know, it's going to take longer to learn a brand new spot, especially a spot that's as big as Mount Olympus. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of buildings. There's a lot of different loot spawns, floor spawns everywhere. And also it's hard to do it when there's so many people landing there in these ranked games. So dropping an uncontested spot is good because you want to be uncontested in a set lobby, but at the same time, you need to know these new Medallion spots like the back of your hand. So I would definitely suggest landing at the new Medallion spots in ranked and learning them, so that way when you rotate through them in any type of game, or let's say you decide to land there in a couple of your games, you're not going to be caught off guard or unsure on how to play it or unsure on what the players will do in the POI. So to answer your question, it is important to land an uncontested spot. It's better to land uncontested than it is to land contested in any lobby, finals, opens, and the medallions are not as broken. I would say the only one that's worth going for if you want to switch to a medallion spot is Grim Gate. The skulls that it gives you is absolutely insane, and we'll touch on that more later. The next question we have is coming from Dipset. He asks, how do we counter the wings dropping, and also how do we counter the Zeus mythics? So Simply put, the wings and the Zeus, they're very busted, and I think that we haven't even gotten into how busted they can be. I mean, it's just, we're still very early in the season, and I think that with a little bit more time and more practice with it, it's going to be absolutely insane and ultimately not very counterable. The Zeus Mythic is to the point where you just have to make a lot of space and also put damage on the player. If you have a sniper, that's huge. In ranked, there's shockwaves, so shockwaving up is obviously the #1 way, but that's not in competitive. So sniper for competitive, just doing any type of damage you can to the Zeus Mythics to counter the damage he's putting onto you is really important. But really, there's no way to dodge the final bolt. It does such a big splash damage to you that it's just going to hit you no matter what. So being able to snail, as we've talked about a lot on this channel, being able to learn how to snail and mastering making space when you're low, he's going to hit you weak, but you're still going to be alive as long as you start at a high HP. So yeah, that's the only way to counter it. Just make defensive space and then heal up quick and try to kill him before he does it again. And now Zeus from distance is very uncounterable. Like, you can't really do much from the guy that's 200 meters away throwing the beams at you. It's tough. For wings and them dropping on you, it's more so just, it's another thing that's really uncounterable. It's like a heat-seeking missile that's just going to drop right on you, and you can't run from it. The best thing that you can do is expect it. It's going to bounce you back, so go for damage if you can and be ready for it. Something that I've done is when I box up and I know I'm getting dove on is just be ready for the pump, and sometimes it's better to not even build walls, just knowing that he's going to bounce you around. So let it hit your roof, let him bounce you out, and then that way there's less things breaking and you can get an easier shot on him when he does it. So a little unfortunate, but the quick answer is they're very, very hard to counter, and it's only going to get worse from here. So unless Epic fixes it, hey, drop a comment down below. Let me know if you guys think Epic should fix these. They're absolutely busted in my opinion. Okay, so we have a question from Perklin. Should you get the weapons vaults? So weapons vaults replaced caches. Caches were super, super nice to have in the previous seasons, but now they're gone and we've got weapon vaults. They are super busted. They're now a free way and a pretty chill way to upgrade your guns consistently, which is a great thing for competitive because having attachments on guns, the right attachments, the ones that you want, is super important. But yeah, you should 100% go for weapon vault if it spawns near you. I would just recommend going on Loot Lake and checking your drop spot and seeing where the weapon vaults are around you and making some type of strategy so you can go get them every game or based off a certain situation, based off your loot, based off a zone, and just making sure that 7 out of 10 of your competitive games, you're going for the weapon vault and getting the upgraded guns to what you want it to be. Like attaching the laser or the foregrip on your SMG makes that extremely busted. So doing like things like that and going to the weapon vault to get what you want is very important. On top of that, there's extra metal that you can farm in there, and overall extra loot that you can get if you're there early enough. So yes, 100% you should go for the weapon vaults and build a route for them in your gameplay. The last question that we have is from JMZ. He asks, are wings worth taking, and what is the meta for solos? So as we talked about earlier, the meta is shotgun, SMG, shotgun, the new AR. That's going to be the gun meta. You can pick whatever one you want, whatever attachments you can get to make it the best possible is going to be the meta for the guns. And then wings for solos, I think they will be meta because it is a little bit more of a solo item. You know, like I mentioned earlier, it's important when you're rotating with your duo to use Fizz to stay together, but of course solos, it's just you. So yeah, I think the solos wings will be meta, something you're gonna want to carry, and overall it's going to be a really, really busted thing in the end game. There's going to be a lot of people in the sky and a lot of people crashing down on you. My biggest advice, honestly, is I would suggest going to play creative maps. There's a ton already out there with the new items in it. Go play like a 32-man Zone Wars or a 40-man Zone Wars that have the wings in it, and go experience what it's like for 10 people to be in the sky all dive bombing. I think it's going to mean that playing Edge of Zone is going to be even more busted because, I mean, the mass in the middle, the wings are going to go into the middle. It's going to be that type of mess. But also practicing what it might be like when someone's wings and dashes on height. Again, not much you can do about the bounce back from the wings until Epic nerfs them. But yes, the wings will be meta for solos. And I just want you guys to understand before you play the first solo tournament, you know how the wings are going to work in endgame, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to get bounced back very hard and they're going to catch you off guard. Dead side and edge and moving zones will help you not get bounced back as much and not get caught in the wings mess. So those are my answers to your top asked questions for Chapter 5 Season 2. I know this was a quick video, so I want to get this one out, have you guys caught up in the meta. Good luck in the tournaments out there. And of course, I'm always here to help. Make sure you guys are in the Ceice Thesis Discord. I'm always responding to questions in there and doing whatever I can to help you guys succeed and win. So until next time, later.